No political system is permanent or stable. Political systems are inherently unstable, but we just have to find which brick to pull out. And this conviction that it's a matter of seeing it differently, a matter of imagination, has been strengthened for me over the past few years by 4 observations. I don't claim particular originality from them, they're just new to me, that's all I can say for them. And certainly the first one is not very original at all, but I think it is important. And it goes like this, that it's not political leaders or political parties that change the world so much as big political narratives. If we look at the history of the past 70 or so years, what we find is that history more or less divided down the middle by 2 big political narratives. The first one was Keynesian social democracy, which prevailed from the 1940s into the 1970s, particularly during what the French call the Trente Glorieuses, 1945 to 1975. And during that period, basically everyone was a Keynesian. Even Richard Nixon is alleged, perhaps apocryphally, to have said, "We're all Keynesians now." It didn't matter what your party heritage was. It didn't matter what your colour was. It didn't matter what your name was, whether it was Labour or Conservative, Democrat or Republican. You became a Keynesian. It was the common sense of the era. The story swept all before it. And then when that ran into trouble in the 1970s, there was this massive switch over the course of a few years towards neoliberalism. And then everybody became a neoliberal. Bill Clinton, Tony Blair. It didn't matter whether you were Labour or Conservative, Democrat or Republican, it became the new common sense. And anyone dissenting from that common sense had some explaining to do. And perhaps this should not be surprising, because we are fundamentally creatures of narrative. When we try to make sense of the world, the sense we seek is not the sense that philosophers or mathematicians would recognise. We don't say, right, here's a stream of data coming at me, how do I divide up this data, what is a rational position to take, given that these figures are showing me that, and these figures are showing me this, how do I come up with a reasoned position? We can't do that, the world is too complex, so we use a shortcut, a heuristic, and that's called the narrative. And this narrative, our narrative instinct, and we have a really innate predisposition to listen out for a story, goes back a very, very long way, hundreds of thousands of years. I believe it was an essential ecological tool for navigating ecosystems. You needed a huge amount of knowledge transmitted from one generation to another to survive in a difficult world. And a lot of that was transmitted through narrative. And so there was a strong evolutionary advantage to be able to hear stories and make sense of them in order then to make sense of the world.